Big Sister podcast. I'm Grace and this is my big sister Josie.
Hello, thank you for joining us. And today we're going to be talking about skincare and acne and growing up with bad skin, which both of us have done, and it was a nightmare. Before we get into this week's episode, we just wanted to give a quick trigger warning. We are going to be talking about lots of topics related to medical things and mental health. So if any of those sorts of topics are triggering for you, then you might want to skip this one, but we hope you enjoy.
So I feel like today's topic, we have so much. We could do a whole podcast all about acne, like a whole series. But let's start from the beginning. So both of us, very unluckily, have genetics, which mean we both grew up with pretty bad acne. Yeah. So I feel like you should start because you're the older one.
Yeah.
So how was your skin growing up? How was it like in your childhood, and then when did it start getting bad?
So, well, obviously when I was a child, like really young, it was always great. And then suddenly, I think it was around when I was about 14 to maybe 15, it just suddenly hit. And when I got to about 16, when I was going into college, which is like sixth form, it got really, really bad. And I went to the doctor and tried all these different things. I tried antibiotics, I tried all of the creams, different gel, all the different things that they give you to try, and nothing worked. And it was because it was like the first year of college, which is like not university for any Americans listening, but like sixth form college when you're like 16 to 18. And I had all new people that didn't really know me that well, and I felt really awkward and shy, and I put so much makeup on every single day to try and hide it. And it's just something you can never stop thinking about. Like when it's really bad, all you're thinking about is, what is the lighting? What is my face looking like right now? Is my makeup falling off? Do I need to go reapply my makeup? It's like, it just consumes your brain. And so, yeah, from when I was about 16 to when I was 18, I went through that. But luckily, then I discovered this drug called accutane.
Before we talk about this, I do just want to say we are not doctors. This is not medical advice.
Yes.
And there's lots of side effects to any medication. So before you go and take any sort of medication for your skin, go and talk to someone who is a healthcare professional and do not take our advice.
Definitely.
We're just letting you know what happened.
Accutane is a horrible, horrible drug. And if you don't have to take it, I would definitely say stay well away from it. Run away. It is horrible. It dries your skin out, dries your eyeballs out, dries your lips out, dries the inside of your nose out. It's just it's horrible, and it can also affect your mental health.
There's lots of side effects.
Yeah.
And basically, for those that don't know, Accutane, or it's sometimes called Roaccutane, is a pill that you can take for your skin, and the whole point of it is it basically dries out your oil ducts, so your whole body doesn't produce oil.
It's a form of vitamin A.
Yeah, and it basically just stops your body producing oil, like the natural oils that your body makes on your skin and your hair and wherever else. And because of that, your skin stops producing acne, because acne is caused by a mixture of oils and dirt. And when that is happening, when you're on this medication, obviously your acne does normally go away, which is the reason you take it. But you also get all the side effects of your hair drying up, your lips drying up, you'll have cracked skin on your hands.
Hair falling out sometimes.
Yeah, and then, as Josie said, there are lots of other side effects, such as like mental health things. I know I watched a documentary about this once, about the kind of suicide rate for those on Accutane, and it is much higher. It's a very big thing. If you do have any mental health issues, doctors won't give you this medication, so we really don't recommend it.
The other thing is, if you're a woman or someone who can get pregnant, you have to take a pregnancy test.
Yeah, every month.
When you're on it, at least in the UK, because if you get pregnant while you're taking this drug, it can deform the baby and harm the baby. So that is just like a whole nother layer of thing to worry about. When I was 16 taking this, having to take pregnancy tests, it was just horrible. So yeah, definitely I would say if you can avoid taking it, don't take it. But I understand why people do, and I have gone on to take it 3 different times because it does work, and pretty much for everyone
it works the first time round.
Pretty much guaranteed to work, I think, on like most people. But over time, the things that were causing the bad skin in the first place can just sort of slowly come back, and then you might need to go on it again in really bad cases like mine. So yeah, it was just really, really tough. And then so I went on it when I was I think I was 17 when I went on it, and then when I got to uni, first year of uni, when I was 18, my skin was completely clear, and I was so happy. I was like, I have no worries in my life anymore because my skin is completely clear, and it was so good. And I just really enjoyed like just messing around. Listen to our uni episode if you want to know what I got up to in first year of uni, but I had clear skin and I was so happy. And for that, like, it did leave a few scars behind, but because it was only like the first time it had happened, it wasn't that bad. And then a few years went on, things kind of went back to how they were. Slowly it started getting worse again. So then when I was 22, I had to go on it again, and I went on it for just a few months because it wasn't as bad that time around. So I went on it again, and that did clear up for a few years. And then a few years later, well, this was like 2023, I decided to try and come off the pill. So the whole time I'd been on Yasmin at this point.
The contraceptive pill.
Yeah, and that had kind of kept the spots at bay, I think.
Yeah, because it makes your hormones less. So a lot of the cause of acne is hormones normally.
So the contraceptive pill, I'm not a doctor, but I think it helps to suppress the testosterone and increases your estrogen. So that in a lot of people can help their skin get better. But then when I came off the pill, it was like a complete carnage on my face. Like 3 months after coming off the pill, it was a complete mess again. And this was about 6 months before my wedding. So I was so stressed, and I'm not going to insert photos, but just believe me when I say it was shockingly bad. It was like my entire face was red, my entire face was covered, like it was so bad. I didn't want to leave the house. It was horrible. And so then I had to go on it again. And the only reason I really went on it again, on Accutane again, was because my wedding was coming up, and I was like, this is an emergency. And it was really, really bad. So yeah, I still have dry eyeballs. Every morning I wake up and my eyes are dry still, even though I don't take Accutane anymore. It's such a strong
medication.
So yeah, that is my story. It is not a fun story, and I still get really paranoid whenever I get a spot. I think, oh God, is it coming back again? But it seems to be slightly more under control now. But I still have a lot of like scarring from it, and yeah, I still have some things, and also I'm just very scared to come off the pill again. So that's just another thing that I'm gonna have to face at some point. And it's scary because, you know, things like I'm on this podcast, my face is on video. You know, I post some other things online. It's like very hard if you want to post things online and you feel like your skin is really bad all the time. And I guess I shouldn't worry about that, and I should just be fine with it. But I don't think anyone is really happy if they have like a load of spots on their face. It's very, very hard to just be okay with it and not care.
I think it's so hard, acne on your face especially, because your face is always out to the world. Like, I know you can get acne in other places, and like I had it before on my back and my chest, but at least with that I had the like comfort of knowing I could wear clothes to cover it. Whereas with acne on your face, like you feel it, and you can even see it if it's like, if you've got quite big deep spots, you can literally see them like coming out of your face as you're speaking. You can, it's just so hard. But I would say I mean, I post videos online about like body positivity and trying to accept yourself, and definitely now I feel so much more comfortable posting like with no makeup on, and my skin isn't as bad as it was. I will talk about my experience with Accutane in a second, but I feel like I have followed a lot of accounts that are really helpful. So if anyone out there is struggling with acne, one account I would recommend, there's this lovely girl called Faye, and her account is Faye's Skin, and she posts all about how like she struggled with acne and how she's like going makeup free. And I feel like just seeing more people on social media like just getting on with their life and just not even making a video specifically about acne, but just having acne while they're talking about something else on social media and not caring about, not apologizing,
because you don't see it like with filters these days. You do not see people with bad skin really ever.
So I feel like showing your real skin online can be so important, and I'm definitely trying to do that more. Like in November last year, I did a whole month of like no makeup November on my socials, and like there were some days where I had spots and I was like, oh, I don't want to film today, but I still did. I was like, no, okay, I need to film. Like, we're trying to show like our real selves more. So I think we just need to start, like, everyone needs to start being more like open and just sharing like their face with no makeup on social media.
So what has your skin story been?
So I had grown up obviously seeing Josie go through all of this with her skin, and then my parents would tell me how when they were like a certain age their skin was really bad.
I think even our grandparents had it.
Yeah, so I think we were just quite unlucky with our genetics. And I do think acne, obviously there are lots of different kind of types of acne, but the sort of acne we had was definitely like caused by genetics. Like I feel like it was just hormonal. Like at a certain age we all got it at the same time, like all our sisters. So I had grown up seeing my two older sisters go through this, and both my older sisters had been on the medication for their skin, Accutane. So I was kind of like just waiting. I kind of knew it was going to come at some point. And I remember being in like year 7, and like I would watch Zoella and all these YouTubers, and I remember them promoting like all the like concealers and foundations. And I remember in year 7 I had clear skin, so this was when I was like 11, and I would be wearing all the concealer and stuff that they recommended, and I remember being like, I don't really have any spots. Like, why am I doing? I was a bit confused. Like, what? I don't really get like this makeup. Like, I didn't really get how to use it. I was like, I don't have anything to cover up. Like at this age, but I would just do it anyway because it's like everyone at school was putting makeup on. And then I got to about year 9 in school, so I was about 14.
Same age as me.
Yeah, and then it was actually the same year when I got my period for the first time, because I think it's definitely to do with like hormones. And yeah, that year, my skin, I think it literally started off with like a few spots. I used to get like little pimples on my chin, like in the first few years of secondary school, but they'd always like go away after a while, and it was nothing like proper acne. But then when I was 14, I got a few spots, and then I got a few more, and then they just like didn't go away, and that's when I like started to panic, and I was like, oh no, it's time, like I know what's about to happen, because I'd seen it happen to both of you.
Oh God.
So at least though, when I was growing up, I was kind of more aware of like the things I could do to help, and like I was more kind of prepared for what was gonna happen.
And there was probably more like videos online and stuff like that, do you think?
So actually what I did when I was that age was I was searching up Accutane on YouTube, because I was such a YouTube kid. I loved YouTube. And I remember there was this YouTuber, I think she was called Katie. I don't know if you watched her too. Katie Snooks. And she did a whole YouTube like video diary of I think it was every day or every week on Accutane. She would like do a little update. And her skin was quite bad, like it was similar to like how mine was getting, and she was doing her whole journey on Accutane and like the whole process, and like talking, like giving recommendations of products, because as we said, when you're on Accutane your skin gets so dry that like there's only a certain amount of products they recommend you use, because you can't use anything like harsh. You've got to use super moisturizing kind of simple skincare that can, you know, help counteract the dryness. So yeah, I had watched this whole series of this girl on Accutane, so I kind of knew what to expect, and I was like, okay, well, I think I need to go to the doctor about this. So I went to my GP, and they, of course, at first, they go through all the other options first, because Accutane is always like the last resort, at least in the UK. They don't offer that up straight away. What they'll do is they'll get you to try antibiotics, they'll get you to try a lot of different creams. Some of the creams they got me to try, like, some of them make everything bleached. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. Where a lot of the
benzoyl peroxide.
Yeah, that's the like ingredient in these creams, and when you like put it on your face, if you don't wash your hands properly and like you dry your hands on a towel, then your towel gets really stained.
So many towels, and like the neck of so many pajama tops that way. Like almost all of my pajama tops had to be thrown away after I'd taken that.
Yeah, so I was given all these different things to try, and obviously nothing worked, and like I was expecting that because I'd seen you guys go through it, and I knew it wasn't going to work. So it got to the point when I was 15 that my skin was bad enough that I went back to the doctor and I was like, can I be referred to a dermatologist, because my skin's so bad. And in the UK you can't get Accutane from your GP normally, you have to be referred to like the big local hospital, or at least in our area, and then you had to see a dermatologist to then prescribe you the Accutane. And so I went for my first appointment there, and they asked you a number of questions, or they asked me to do like a survey, and it was a lot about like your mental health, because Accutane has such big side effects and can cause lots of side effects that are like mental problems. They make you sign a thing saying like, I've never experienced depression, I've never experienced this and this. And I remember at the time I was like, not sure on some of the questions, but I just ticked like no to everything because I wanted it so bad, because I knew it was going to be the only thing to fix my skin. And at the time I was rationalizing it as, I'm feeling depressed right now because my skin's so bad. So even if the pill makes me more depressed for a bit, at least there's an end goal. There's an end point.
That's literally what I thought as well.
I know, and that's such a bad way to think about things, and I really don't recommend that. I really do think you guys should listen to your doctor's advice and tell the truth on any forms or anything.
But I would say that it is hard to tell. Like, people that are going on this drug are in such a bad state. Like, it's very hard to know if it is actually the pill that is causing the bad mental state, or is it just the fact that you've been through, probably at that point, years and years of struggling with your skin. So it's a bit hard to tell.
Yeah, it is hard, and like it's such a big decision to make, and especially I was only 15, so that's like quite young to be signing all this stuff. And the same with what Josie had to do. I had to do pregnancy tests, even though I'd never had a boyfriend. I'd never even kissed anyone, and they were like, you have to do a pregnancy test every month.
That's intense.
So every month I would have to go, and like in front of all these little old ladies in the waiting room, they would like give me a urine thing, and like everyone's like watching me go into the toilet to do my urine test.
Luckily, you don't have to pee in front of anyone.
Yeah, you don't have to pee in front of everyone, but like everyone knew what was going on. And like I was thinking, like, do all these people think I'm pregnant? Like, what's going on here? And every month, I would have to go, and you would also have to have a blood test every month. So I would have to go and get all my like different levels checked, because it can affect lots of different kind of health things. So they do a blood test every month, they do a pregnancy test every month, and they made me do like a mental health form every month. But I would just always tick no to everything because I wanted to continue taking the drug. So I feel like there should be more checks, and like maybe like, I know obviously the NHS doesn't have loads of funds and like stuff they can do, but I feel like they should offer you some sort of like support group, or like some sort of therapy if they had the funds to be able to do that, because I feel like that would have helped.
How long were you on Accutane for?
So I was on it for Accutane, there's like a maximum dose that you can take, and it's like a certain amount of milligrams, and they work it out based on like your body weight. And then what they do is they just give you normally a smaller dose at first, and then they build you up slightly higher every week or month, and then they can only give you the maximum dose that they've calculated. And some people don't need the whole dose, some people only need half of like the recommended dose. You just kind of see how your skin's going. But for me, my acne was so bad that I had the whole dose. So I was on Accutane, I think it was around like 8 months. Like it was a long time. It was a long period of time. It was all over a summer, I remember. And also another thing about Accutane is while you're on it, you cannot drink alcohol.
Oh yeah, that was another really annoying thing.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I was 15, and that's the time when I was going to my first ever house parties, and when like my friends were starting to drink for the first time ever. And I remember like everyone used to think I was a bit uncool, because like they were like, oh, Grace isn't drinking, like she's not cool enough. But I didn't want to be like, sorry, it's my medication I'm on, like I can't drink on my medication. But actually I couldn't drink on my medication. So like a lot of the first parties my friends were going to and like trying alcohol for the first time, I couldn't try any because I was like, oh my God, I'm not allowed to drink. But I guess being 15, like,
but it's good that you stuck to that, because I know people who have been on it and weren't that strict about that, and could potentially really damage their liver if you're taking that and drinking. And I definitely know people who did do that, and I was like, what are you doing? Yeah,
it's really not safe to drink on Accutane. So that's another funny thing about it. But yeah, so I was on it for like the whole maximum dose, and by the end my skin was pretty clear. But one thing about Accutane is your skin, at least mine, got way worse before it gets better. So it goes through this like purging phase, where like I think it's like while your skin's like drying out, all the oil that was there like comes to the surface, and like so your skin gets really bad before it gets better. So like 2 months in, I was like, my skin's worse than it was before. Like, why have I done this? Like, I wasn't really sure. I was like, oh, why have I done this? But then I kept watching this lady on YouTube and being like, hey, this happened to her too, and then it got better. So I kept going, and yeah, by the end my skin was pretty good. But that period of time, like the dryness and everything is so hard to deal with. Like your lips are constantly peeling, especially in winter when it's cold and your lips are chapped. Like,
I remember I had pots of Vaseline because at the time I didn't really know, like there wasn't as many, especially the first time I had it, there wasn't like loads of YouTubers that I could go look and get recommendations for products. So all I had was a pot of Vaseline, and I would just be putting it on every 2 seconds, but my lips would be so dry that they would peel beyond the outside of my lip. Like I ended up looking like the Joker.
Bleeding,
I just had lips that were just all red around my lips, and yeah, it's just horrible. And I feel like after a while that's worse than the spots, because at least with spots you can cover that up with concealer, but there's not much you can do when you have really, really dry, cracked, bleeding lips and hands and things. And ugh. I feel like after a certain amount of time, well, once I'd been on Accutane and then come off it, and then I was very, very obsessed with like maintaining my good skin, and I became very conscious of all the things of don't have dairy, don't have this, don't have that, don't take this supplement, take this skincare thing, and you just become very obsessed with like trying to fix your skin. Did you feel like that happened to you? Because it definitely happened to me.
Yeah, I feel like once you've been on Accutane and you know like that it's such like a horrible experience, and once your skin was that bad and now it's good, it's like, oh my god, I've got to keep this so like I've got to tread so carefully because I know what can happen if my skin gets bad again. And yeah, I've at first, like I remember this was around the time I became vegan and stopped drinking milk, because I do know, or at least I've read, that milk can like disrupt your hormones. But I do think there is a lot of misinformation on the internet, because if you Google like any food group, any ingredient, there's going to be pros and cons of it. Like there's going to be a reason to drink it or a reason not to drink it.
Yeah. And obviously there are so many different reasons that people can have bad skin, depending on whether or not you have a period, or like just that there's so many different types of bad skin. So then there's so many solutions that might work for one person but might not work for another. And that's why anyone peddling a one size fits all solution, or I've seen these ads for this, I don't even know what it is, I think it's some like random tablet, and they're like, we guarantee that this will solve your skin. And I think anyone saying that, unless you're like a certified dermatologist, really should not be saying that, especially online.
Yeah, I think, I agree, because there's so many reasons your skin might be bad. It might just be hormones. Like I notice every month when I'm on my period, my skin is worse. It might be like physically, maybe you're not washing your pillowcase. It could be something as simple as that. It could be your diet, maybe your body reacts differently to sugar or something like that.
It could be
stress. There's literally like a million different things that can cause it. So to try and say that one product or cutting out one ingredient is going to solve everyone's acne just isn't going to be true. So I think just trying to see what works for you, and if you have tried different medications and like nothing's working, yes, it might be good. Maybe you can kind of search up the most common causes of acne and like try and remove those things and see if it works. And then you can kind of figure out where your acne is coming from. For me, I've definitely realized my acne is all just based on hormones.
Same.
So I am on the contraceptive pill because I know that helps my acne, and that's keeping it kind of pretty clear now that I've been on Accutane. But if I was to ever come off the pill, I know my skin would get bad again, and that's because my acne is hormonal acne. And the fact that I have to like stay on the contraceptive pill to keep my skin at bay is kind of sad, because like if I was someone that wanted to have a child younger, but I was so worried about my skin, then like you can't have both. And it's like kind of sad that like that's kind of my only option right now to have clear skin, is to be on the contraceptive pill.
And doctors just give that as like it's like a band-aid solution though, because it does solve the problem, but it's not getting to the root of the problem. Like we still don't know
it's solving like the symptom, but it's not like fixing your actual acne. It's just kind of covering over it.
It's probably we have some kind of hormonal situation going on, but we haven't really investigated it that far, because you can just take the pill and then you'll be all right. But I just don't think that's actually, like, ideally I would try and figure out what the root cause of it is and
fix that rather than just going on different medications.
But obviously, again, this is a completely personal thing and it's a personal choice. We're doing what we're doing, but that might not be right for everyone. So I think that the main thing is to speak to it, find a dermatologist if possible. And I know that especially if you're living in America, it can be very expensive, but if you can, try your hardest, persuade your doctor, your GP, to let you see a dermatologist.
One thing I would say about the UK, especially if you are trying to get Accutane, I know there is a massive waiting list at the moment, because one of my friends recently has made the decision to go on Accutane, and it was like a year waiting list.
Really?
So it's so sad that if you're like a teenager in the UK and you have really bad skin, and it can really affect your mental health so much. Like, I don't think people that have had clear skin their whole life don't understand how much it can affect someone with bad skin.
Or if they've had like one spot, they're like, I understand. It's like, no, you really don't understand.
That was always the worst thing. And like when I was in school having that really bad acne, and someone would get like one spot and be like, oh my god, guys, I've got a spot, and like talk about it all day and be like, can you see my spot? I need to cover it up. And I'm like, here,
but then it's like a novelty.
I'm there with like 20 spots. Like, well, if you're complaining about yours, what do you say to others about my skin? I feel like if you haven't experienced bad skin yourself, you just can't really compare it to much else.
No.
But I feel like the waiting lists are really like worrying, because if it takes a year to get Accutane in the UK, like it might be to the point where your mental health is so bad that like you just feel like you can't go on and like you can't wait that long, which I know a lot of people then make the decision, if they can afford it, to go like privately, but that's a whole nother thing of like affording that and like being able to do it privately. But when I was on it, luckily the waiting list wasn't that long for the NHS, but I know now it's like very long. So all of this stuff, you've got to wait for it now, which is like very unfortunate. So what do you think you do with your skincare routine now? Like, are you very simple? Because I feel like when you're on Accutane, you're told to use the most simple skincare. And I feel like even now I have kind of carried that philosophy now. I do use fun skincare products, but I feel like for me now, when I'm like picking what skincare I want to use, I'm more picking it for like how it feels when I'm applying it and like how it feels on my skin. I'm not really picking products that I hope that will like improve my skin, because I feel like I try to keep it simple. So mainly when I'm picking out what moisturizer to use, I just want one that feels nice, isn't too sticky, doesn't make me too oily. Like that's the sort of thing that I base my skincare on.
I think maybe mine's a bit different because I'm a bit older than you, so it's not just acne for me, it's also aging and wrinkles and things like that. So that's like a whole different situation. But so I do try and be very, very gentle and simple, and I don't put anything too harsh on my skin. I don't really use any like AHAs or BHAs, to be honest. But I do, so I'll just tell you my skincare routine. I do, in the morning, I do have a vitamin C serum that I use, because that is like, it is actually one of the few skincare ingredients that is scientifically proven to brighten and improve the skin. So I do that because I know that it does actually work and helps me. But then apart from that, I just do moisturizer in the morning. Sunscreen, very, very important.
You wash your face in the morning?
Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention that part. So I just use a very simple face wash, like I think it's the Cetaphil one, just the one you get in like a big tub.
Yeah, with the
so I just use that as a face wash, and then in the evening I just use the same face wash, make sure I'm getting all the makeup off if I have makeup on, and then I use Differin gel, which I actually still do use even though my skin isn't as bad. I just feel like it actually helps with scarring as well. And
what is Differin?
So Differin gel is you can only get it, I think in some countries you can get it in the pharmacy, but in the UK it's only on prescription. So I get that from my doctor, and that is just kind of just maintains, I mean, I still do get a few spots here and there, but it does really help. And then another thing I got just before my wedding, when all the skin drama was going on, is an LED light mask. And I really, really love that. And so the blue light kills the bacteria and the red light promotes healing. It sounds kind of woo-woo, but there
Yeah,
is a lot of research on it.
I don't know if I trust, like...
But if you think about it, light, how like the sunlight can damage your skin, there are other waves of light that can actually help your skin.
That's true.
And it is real. It's not just made up. So I do that, and I feel like that does help as well, just keep things a little bit calm. I'm not as good. When I first got it, I was using it every single day because they're quite pricey, and I was thinking, who would ever, if you owned one of these, why would you ever not use it every day? And then slowly you just keep forgetting, and then whatever. But so I do try and use that when I can. So yeah, that's quite good. I like that. But overall, I'm trying to just limit. I feel like there's so much online about like a 10-step skincare routine, and no one really needs that. You just need what works for you, and what maybe just one or two things that are proven to help with the issues that you're facing. But apart from that, if you just put so many, especially AHAs, BHAs, very strong acids on your face, you're gonna just damage your skin barrier, and it's just gonna be worse than when you started.
Yeah, I think for me, like I was saying, I usually pick products based on like how they feel, because I'm very affected by like my senses, and like if I'm having like sensory overload by all these products, and then I have to sleep on my pillow and like put my head on my pillow and all the sticky face creams like go on my pillow, like that is my worst nightmare. So I pick products that like I know feel nice and like I like physically like using them, and most of those products are quite kind of just simple like moisturizing kind of ingredients, but again, my skin is pretty clear now, so I don't really try many like acids or anything like that, because honestly I feel like my kind of philosophy with my skincare is like, my skin is good, so why would I like try other like stuff that could make it go bad? Like I'd rather just stick with simple, like most mornings I don't even use like a face cleanser, I'll just like use water, because I'm like, well, I put all these products on last night, like I'm just gonna keep some of that moisture
you don't
in.
Actually need to use a cleanser in the morning,
like twice a day. So I feel like for me, I'm just trying to use the most kind of simple stuff, and like just stuff that is like nice and moisturizing. I like a lot of the products that are like moisture barrier repair, those sorts of products that like are meant to be like super kind of nourishing for your skin, but also isn't too oily and like horrible in feeling, because that's another thing that annoys me. So yeah, I just kind of, I don't have like a set skincare routine, because I do have a lot of different stuff to try. But I'm trying to think if I have any like favorite products. One of the products that I think actually is worth spending money on and makes my skin look really good when I put it on, like physically the product then and there makes my skin look good, is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Water Cream. Now it's very expensive, but like if you're getting married, or if it's your prom, or like you just want your skin to look really good for a certain day and it looks really good under makeup too, I would really recommend like the glow that it gives me. And especially I notice this when I'm like filming content or like vlogging. I remember when I went to New York last year, it's the only moisturizer I brought with me, and every clip in that vlog where I have no makeup on, I'm like, wow, what, like my skin looked great.
Is it a moisturizer or a primer? Like,
it's
what makes
just a
it look so
moisturizer,
good?
like it's just a tub, but I don't know if it's got
Does
like,
it have shimmer in it or something?
it doesn't look like it does, but it just makes my skin, it's almost a bit tacky once you put it on, like
mattifying. Or
no, it makes you look like glowy. I don't know, I would just recommend trying it. I'm pretty sure you can get like little sample size ones. I've never tried the original magic cream, so I would like to try that, because the one I use is like the water one, so it's slightly thinner consistency. So I'd quite like to try the like proper one, like the thick one, but it is so pricey. I'm waiting till my little tub of the water cream runs out before I try the rich one, because I'm scared I won't like it as much. But yeah, I really recommend that. And I'm trying to think any other products that I like love. One thing that is kind of in between skincare and makeup that I really love is the Arborium Green CC cream. That is more of a, I don't know if you describe it as makeup or skincare. It's basically this green gel that you put on your face. It's got SPF in it, and as you're putting it on your face, it kind of melts in with your skin color and like isn't green anymore.
So you don't look like Alphaba.
No, you're not like you're from Wicked. But yeah, it basically just like counteracts any redness in your skin, and it makes my skin look really good. It's kind of, I think is basically makeup, so that's why it makes your skin look better. But I really like it as like an SPF for like a no makeup day. If I just want to make my skin look a bit more even, but I don't want to wear like proper makeup, I'll just put that on with my hands, and then it makes my skin look good, and like I don't have to worry about like loads of layers of makeup and like powder and everything. So those are the 2 skincare products I would really recommend, but it's more for like how your face looks there and then. I don't know if I've noticed like differences over time using those. It's more just like how it looks on the day. Those products make you look really glowy and nice.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely, you can fall into the trap of skincare overconsumption for sure. And it's so easy to do. And you can be tricked into thinking that you need all of these things. If you fall down the skincare side of TikTok, you can really just like find yourself in a bit of a hole and spending so much money, because some of these products are like £80 for a bottle of something or other, like £100 for something that you don't even know if it's going to work.
I remember in lockdown, I don't know if it's just like the side of internet I was on, but everyone became super hyper fixated on skincare and like ingredients. And there was this influencer called Skincare by Hiram. Do you remember him? He was like the craze on TikTok, and he would like review products by their ingredients, and he like made everyone very aware of like what % of this certain acid and like what products actually
to be
work.
fair, like I do think it is good to have some knowledge of that, because you don't want to be scammed and you want to be buying things that actually are going to work.
And like there's brands like The Ordinary where they sell just like the actual ingredient and like no other random stuff in the jar. And I remember that time when everyone was like obsessed with Skincare by Hiram. But what ended up happening was I was so influenced by him, I bought like 20 different The Ordinary products. Then I was combining them all. And do you remember in lockdown that like red Ordinary mask that was made by AHAs? Everyone was using that like every day. And then all these other things that he recommended. But like obviously he probably didn't mean use them all at once. But everyone was like bored in lockdown. So we were all just trying all this different stuff. And then I just broke out because
everyone's walking around with a broken skin barrier.
And like we're just attacking our skin with all these different products because like we've learnt so much, we want to try everything. So I feel like they're are very different ends of the spectrum of like trying so much, but also you should try and have some sort of routine. And
it can be hard, like especially if you're having really bad skin, and I've fallen into this trap many times of just thinking I need this is going to solve my problem, and you try like 5 or 6 things at once, and then you don't actually, if one of those things actually does work, you don't know which one it is because you've now tried so many different things at once. So I think even though it's so hard, because I completely understand that you just want to get rid of this problem, I think the one thing I would say is just try one thing at a time and give it time. Give it like multiple weeks, I'm talking, before you try something else.
I feel like I'm so impatient that I can't wait. Like
I know, so I'm the same.
That's really why I don't bother with like all these like active ingredient
I'm giving this advice, but like I'm not taking I don't take my own advice.
That's why I think probably why I buy products that feel nice like there and then, because I can like see the effect right away, whereas stuff I have to wait for, I just can't be bothered and I won't remember. Like there'll be one night where I don't put it on and I'm like, oh well, I might as well give up. Like so I feel like my personality, I just can't keep up with like waiting and seeing if something would work, whereas when I was growing up I knew that accutane would work, so I knew that was going to solve my problems, and that's why I went on it. Okay, now that we've discussed our skin journey and recommendations, I'm going to go through a few questions that I asked from you guys. So if you do want to be involved in these episodes, make sure you give us a follow on our socials at My Big Sister Podcast, and let's have a look at the questions that people have been asking. Okay, the first one, this is interesting. If you could only use one skincare brand the rest of your life, what would it be?
Water from the tap.
Well, I'm assuming you can still use water.
Okay, well, beyond water, which is quite important.
Also, I feel like we haven't mentioned this episode, drink your water.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking water helps so much with skin. And I know it sounds like one of those stupid things, but I promise everyone's skin will be better if you haven't been drinking enough water.
Hydrate.
And then you do.
Hydrate. I can't answer that question. Sorry, there's just too many.
Can't think of any.
No, I can think of like a million, but I wouldn't pick one. There's no one that has every single thing that I want. Like, there's no brand that has a cleanser, a moisturizer, vitamin C that is like the perfect one.
I really like Arborium Skincare. That's the people that make the green CC cream. They have a really nice cleansing oil, and I love cleansing balms. I love my Elemis one. I love all the different cleansing balms for taking off my makeup. But I am also a very lazy person, and sometimes when it's late at night, just the actual act of opening that cleansing bar jam, opening the some nights I'm so tired that I just can't be bothered to open the jar of cleansing balm, and Arborium has a cleansing oil that has a pump. So at night when I'm like super tired, if I'm like in from a night out and I just can't be bothered to take my makeup off and I can't be able to like warm up the balm, like I don't know if that's just me being so lazy or impatient, but just having that cleansing oil in a pump some on my hands, go like that, my mascara's off, done. That's so much quicker than like doing the whole process. And sometimes I like doing that whole process. It feels like I'm in a spa, like opening up my products, using them all.
But sometimes you just want to go to bed.
Yeah, if you just want to go to bed, then I really recommend the Arborium cleansing oil, the one that has a pump. I really recommend, and it smells really nice as well. So I like that. And then Arborium, I like their face moisturizer. I wouldn't say it's my favorite of all my ones, but it's pretty good. Like I do use it quite often, so I'd use that. And then I'd use the green CC cream, and there's like a really good skincare routine. I'd be happy to use that.
I can't commit. I like different things.
What's like one brand you think you could live with using like for the rest of your life? Another thing, I've never tried the other Charlotte Tilbury skincare, but I feel like because I love the moisturizer so much, maybe Charlotte Tilbury would be good, but I've never tried the like cleanser.
I feel like Aesop, just because I love all the packaging and it all smells amazing. And so is it good for
your skin?
I think it is. Yeah, they do have some really good ingredients. And actually, my friend gave me this moisturizer from Aesop. I think it's called Seeking Silence Hydrator or something. And it was so nice. It just smelled nice. It made my skin feel like calm and not stressed. I don't know,
I like it when it feels like you're
dry.
in a spa.
Yeah, it felt like my skin was going
for a facial.
It's like my skin had been dunked in a lake. I can't explain it, but it was,
I want to try that now.
It was really good. So probably Aesop.
Yeah, I think,
and also you just look fancy with all of the jars.
Yeah,
so they just have very nice packaging.
Someone asked, would you recommend going on Accutane? Now, I want to say again, we are not doctors and do not take our advice. Recommend. We can't really say either way. It's really dependent on you as a person. But if one of my friends came to me, or like my sister came to me, obviously you've already been on Accutane, but if someone came to me and asked my experience, I would just say it worked for me, but like there are a lot of consequences to taking it, and you've really just got to decide if those potential risks are worth having your skin clear. And I know one of my close friends has been on Accutane recently, and I said the same to her. I said, yes, there's lots of mental health side effects, but if your mental health is so bad right now, you've got to weigh up, is it worth potentially your mental health being worse? And also I would like to say this didn't happen to me, but I do know some people have said that their mental health was like permanently made worse by taking it, like even after they stopped taking it.
I do actually think that mine was as well. Like I have had ongoing things.
Some people's brains are like permanently altered from taking it. So really, if you have any history of like mental illness or in your family, that is one of the major things I would say that you need to consider.
Yeah, so I know we're kind of joking around about this, but we do not take it lightly. And if anyone listens to this podcast and does go and take Accutane, I just want you to know that it is a very intense drug and you have to think very carefully about it. But at the same time, having really bad skin is a very, very bad situation to be in mentally.
Yeah.
So if you feel like your skin is causing you to be very mentally unwell, then I think in a lot of cases it can be worth it.
What is better,
yeah.
And I would just say everyone is so different. Make sure you've tried other options first. This should be like your last resort. Like I know in some countries where you pay for healthcare, they'll just offer you up anything if you're willing to pay for it. But please try other methods first. I know some people that took antibiotics and that worked for their skin. I know people that have used the different face gels and that worked for their skin. I know people that have stopped eating certain foods and that solved their acne. acne, people that have been on the contraceptive pill. Like there's so many other things you can try before trying Accutane. And I would say Accutane is like one of the strongest medications that's given away so kind of lightly. So I would say, just make sure this is like you've tried every other option and really weigh up, and also make sure you have people around you, because even if you're not someone that struggles with mental health, you don't know what would happen if you take it. So make sure you've got a support system. Make sure you've told people around you, like, I might maybe check up on me while I'm taking this medication. Like, can we just have some check-ins? Can you phone me every once in a while, check I'm doing okay? And be honest with your doctor as well, which is something I did not do. So learn from my mistakes, and just, I think, really think about it very strongly, because it's not a light decision to be making. Someone asked, what's your opinion on skincare influencers? I feel like I do actually follow quite a lot of skincare influencers, but I think I find it hard to trust recommendations of someone who has had perfect skin their whole life. Because I mean, I guess you could argue that their skin's so good because they're so knowledgeable and they've used all these products that they're recommending to you. But I just
unlikely.
I just think that if you have had perfect skin your whole life, you cannot have full kind of knowledge and like you don't have a full idea of products and like what you should be recommending to people with acne.
Do you think most skin influencers have had good skin, or do you think some of them have been through a journey, and like what is the majority?
Well,
I mean, I guess it's hard to
depends.
say.
I think people that actually have had acne like will post about it, so you'll know. But honestly, I think this applies to all influencers, all different industries. Most skincare influencers will become a skincare influencer because they already had good skin. They don't have good skin because they're an skincare influencer because they use the products. And it's the exact same with fitness. People that have a naturally genetically good shaped body are fitness influencers because of how their body looks. Their body doesn't look the way it looks because they're fitness influencers. And I'd like to just say that again, a lot of the different niches, they are doing that and making videos about that topic because they're probably naturally already blessed in a certain area, whether
and maybe
that's good skin.
The skincare might slightly improve things, or going to the gym might give them slightly more muscles, but ultimately you can't change the base of what you have. That's
and I just
genetic.
think, like, even I would say my body shape, like the way I have quite big hips and a small waist, like I get so many comments asking for my workout routine and asking me how I work out. And if I wanted to just make money, I could become a fitness influencer and sell guides on how to get big hips, and I could have this whole thing about it. But the reason I'd be doing that is because my body already looked like that, and the exercises I might be recommending wouldn't be the reason my body looks like that. And it's the exact same with skincare. I see it all the time. People with amazing skin, they're beautiful, they have such great skin, but they've never talked about struggling in the past, and you can tell they probably just have good genetics and they've had good skin their whole life. I really don't think you should be trusting their recommendations for like acne if they're making videos about how to solve your acne and they've never had acne themselves. I really find it hard to trust unless they've like studied dermatology and they have some sort of qualifications. I don't think I want to be trusting people that. I just think if you have acne, find influencers that have had the same experience as you. Like when I was younger, watching that girl on Accutane on YouTube, I fully trust her experiences and her recommendations because I know she struggled the same way I did. So I think, finding people that have a similar skin condition or whatever it is you're looking to fix, then you can trust their recommendations much more.
And also with filters, I think more than any other type of influencing, like, it's so easy to make your skin look good with a filter these days. So there's so much that you, like, even if it doesn't show up as a filter on like TikTok or Instagram, they could have made a filter on a different app and imported the video. There's so many ways that people can get around it and just be using a filter without you actually knowing. Sometimes the iPhone cameras can just, or like Android phones, sometimes just put a filter on all faces and you might not even realize that it's happening.
Like, sometimes I even do this. I'll like use a song that someone used on TikTok and it will automatically put the filter they had on their face on my face, and I'm like, I didn't choose a filter. I just chose the song, and like the song has put a filter on me. And I think I see that a lot. I see so many beauty and skincare ads on my TikTok of influencers, and I can tell they've got the beauty filter on, and it's an ad for a skincare product or a foundation, and they're like, look how good my skin looks with this product, and I'm like, well, that's just not how your skin looks in real life. And it's just like false advertising, and it's promoting unrealistic beauty standards, and we should not trust people that promote unrealistic beauty standards. So yeah, I think just trying to follow influencers that you feel are like genuine, and don't use filters, especially if they're like skincare influencers, and finding people that may have struggled in the past the same way you did. Because you can't always trust everything you see online. Okay, that is all the questions we have time for. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Hopefully this was helpful, because I feel like we know how it feels to go through acne.
And I don't hear too many people talking about it. I mean, obviously there are a few sort of people who have spoken about Accutane online, but I don't hear that many people talking in depth about it. So I definitely think
when I was growing up, I wish I had like people I could listen to and talk about their experiences. So hopefully this has helped. Hopefully we can be those people for you.
And just random side note, I saw a video the other day that Charlie XCX said she went on Accutane, and she takes the Laneige Sleep lip balm, and that's what she uses.
That's a good lip balm.
That's just a completely random side note.
The Laneige it's called sleeping balm. That's the only lip balm where when I put it on at night, it's still on in the morning. So I think that is a really good product, and I recommend. So yeah,
Charlie,
shout out to Charlie.
Thanks.
I really hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Hopefully it helped. And just a reminder, we are not doctors. Just to reiterate again, if you're struggling with acne or your skin or anything else, please go and talk to a loved one or a healthcare professional. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed. Make sure you follow us at My Big Sister Podcast to keep up to date with what we're up to and be involved in future episodes. I hope you're having a good week, and we will see you in next week's episode. Bye guys.